Today marks 1 year since the Eaton and Palisades fires forever changed these communities.
Everyone else get in your vehicle and back away.
The damage was devastating, the recovery uneven, and for some families, the struggle is far from over.
It's all gone.
But through the setbacks, there's also been strength. Volunteers stepping up, neighbors lifting each other, communities refusing to be forgotten.
I really love being a Palisadian.
There's nothing like Altadena.
1 year later, we're taking you back to remember what was lost and to show how resilience continues to rise. Thank you for joining us for our special coverage, the Eaton and Palisades fires 1 year later. I'm Christine Devine, live in Altadena.
And I'm Marla Tejas, live in Pacific Palisades. Thank you for being with us for our special coverage tonight. We begin with a look back at where we were 1 year ago in January. You likely recall those red flag warnings. They were issued a day ago yesterday, January the 6th. They warned of wind gusts reaching up to 90 miles per hour. On January 7th at 10:30 a.m., a fire was reported in the Pacific Palisades area. The Palisades fire burned almost 24,000 acres, destroyed almost 7,000 structures, claimed 12 lives. In October, 29-year-old Jonathan Rinderneck was charged with starting a fire, the Lockman fire. That later ignited into the Palisades fire. His federal trial is scheduled to begin in April.
In Altadena, while the Palisades fire already was burning, the Eaton fire erupted at 6:17 p.m. It ended up burning about 14,000 acres, and we do know that 19 people were killed. And we talk about the structures that were lost, more than 1,000 structures damaged, 9,400 structures destroyed, and 9 firefighters were injured. January 31st, a whole month it took for this Eaton fire to be fully contained. So I am live here in Altadena. This is the first anniversary commemoration, and you can see there is quite a crowd gathered behind me. We have members of the clergy, members of Altadena's very proud black community. We have city leaders, county leaders here as well. And they're also going to have a moment of silence, 1 minute and 19 seconds, to honor those who lost their lives in this fire. There have been services and events really all day long, in the morning and now, of course, at night. There's also going to be a concert tonight and a memorial service tonight as well. I'm here at the grocery outlet that really became a hub for the community. The owners here opening up their lot for the community to gather here. They had to shut down for almost 2 months. They lost $2 million because of the smoke. They had to clear out all of the food items and their groceries. But here today, there is so much love and coming together, and still so much need. Let's now go to the Palisades area with Marla.
Christine, it's a much quieter, more serene scene here in the Pacific Palisades. I come to you live from Palisades Park and Rec Center. Should be noted that this is one of the first public spaces to open post-LA wildfires, and it's really been a joy to see the families out here earlier today playing in the playground behind our camera tonight. And the bocce ball courts had some folks on it a little later earlier this afternoon, I should say. Now, one question, though, many here in this community are asking tonight is, where is Mayor Karen Bass? To be clear, we did extend multiple offers for the mayor to join us during our live coverage today, whether it was a live interview or a pre-taped interview. Those requests were denied. Her team simply telling us that she would be holding a special ceremony this morning, a private event as well. But first, she did lead a flag lowering ceremony at City Hall today. They provided these images. She also directed City Hall be lit up in blue tonight to honor the Palisades community. Other than that, the mayor has said she planned to mark the anniversary at several private vigils. She also put out a statement. It reads in part, "Full recovery is a long-term multi-year effort that must leverage innovative solutions. I know we have that statement to be able to show you. Innovative solutions to protect the community for the future in the face of more frequent and severe climate threats. I remain committed to continuing to use the full force of my mayoral power to restore the Palisades community and return families home as quickly and safely as possible. Also in the Palisades, to be noted today, hundreds turned out for the protest dubbed "They Let Us Burn." It was a peaceful demonstration by residents who lost their homes, calling for accountability, transparency, and meaningful reform. A reality TV star turned community activist Spencer Pratt, who lost his home in the fire. His parents lost their home in the fire. He got emotional when he took to the stage. He got the crowd fired up when he made a major announcement.
System in Los Angeles isn't struggling, it's fundamentally broken. It is a machine designed to protect the people at the top and the friends they exchange favors with, while the rest of us drown in toxic smoke and ash. Business as usual is a death sentence for Los Angeles. And I'm done waiting for someone to take real action. That's why I am running for mayor. And we're going into every dark corner of LA politics and disinfecting the city with our light. And when we are done, LA is going to be camera ready again.
Fox 11 carrying that announcement live, the only station in town to bring you that breaking news live. Now, the former star of the Hills has become a sharp critic of L.A. Mayor Karen Bass and Governor Gavin Newsom for their handling of the wildfires. Someone who's also been outspoken on this front, of course, is the woman who represents the Pacific Palisades. That is Tracy Park. You represent District 11. Thanks so much. You've been at nearly, I think, every single event that was to be had today in the Palisades. You just heard me talking about the "They Let Us Burn" protest. Were you there today? Why are they wrong?
I did go by today, and I wanted to spend some time with my neighbors and friends and residents who were participating in the protest. You know, we have covered a lot of emotional territory on this day, from spending time acknowledging the lives lost to celebrating the forward progress that we do see in the community, as well as reckoning with a lot of feelings of anger and disappointment and frustration and the endless unanswered questions about what happened on January 7th and the lead up to it.
Can you stand here tonight and confidently say that for people who are rebuilding in this community, people who choose to move into Pacific Palisades, that this will not happen again? What changes have been made to prevent this from happening again?
You know, we have made some significant changes, and I want to commend Chief Moore and the fire department for implementing those recommendations, enhanced training, new approaches when it comes to pre-deployment decisions and strategies, the staging of resources and use of technology. But the reality is we are nowhere near where we should be for a city of our size. The chronic underinvestment in modern, adequate infrastructure to sustain our communities, as well as public safety resources, persists around the city. And as we rebuild here in the Palisades, we are being very, very mindful of public safety and keeping that forefront in our planning. But there are neighborhoods all over Los Angeles that remain impacted by the lack of public safety and adequate infrastructure.
We have less than a minute. I want to get your thoughts, though, on the biggest lesson, the biggest takeaway for you in the 365 days that have transpired.
Well, you know, the aftermath and getting this community stabilized and connected to the resources was a Herculean lift. It was eye-opening, the things that we were prepared for and what we weren't. When it came to pet recovery and accessing areas that were still under evacuation orders during a time when people desperately needed to get home, there were so many lessons learned. As we look back to that day and think about the chaotic evacuations, it is a miracle that no one died. So those are the kinds of challenges that we're going to continue focusing on as we recover in the Palisades.
When you say that no one died, 12 lives, though, were lost.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, and let me clarify. I meant in their vehicles evacuated. perpetuating in the gridlock on the roads. And let me be very clear, people did die, and we are going to continue to remember and honor those lives lost, because those are scars that will not heal.
Tracy Park, really appreciate you taking the time out tonight. Thank you so much.
Marla, always a pleasure.
All right, Christine, over to you.
Yeah, so Marla, you're dealing there with the city. I'm here in LA County. People are also asking what the state is doing. Let's go to Susan Hirosuna with an announcement on.
California Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara announced new legislation to cut red tape and speed up payouts for fire victims. Senate Bill 876 would require a disaster recovery plan for insurers for handling claims and meeting deadlines. It would double penalties for insurance violations. It would require insurance companies to pay restitution to policyholders when they violate the law. It would address delays caused by multiple adjusters and expand policy limits for additional living expenses by 100%. In a statement, California Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara said in part, "We will measure success when people can recover without red tape and delays, get coverage on their own terms, and rebuild so they are out of harm's way in the future." Meanwhile, on Capitol Hill, Congress members Judy Chu, Brad Sherman, and George Whitesides held a press conference demanding federal disaster aid for Palisades and Eaton fire victims. They called on President Trump to work with Congress to immediately approve California's supplemental disaster funding request.
Yeah, I'm here in Altadena, the site of the Eaton fire. I'm with Cynthia and Ibarian Expedeo. And Cynthia, you and I can't help but hug.
I know.
What is that?
Kindred spirits.
I'm going to have you take me back to that day of the fire.
Okay. So there was an outage on the 7th of January, and it was an outage for most of the day. So it was cold in the house. I wasn't even aware that there was a fire. And my husband was in his office outside, and it wasn't until, I believe, 8 or 9 o'clock where he told me that there's a fire, we need to leave. We didn't get any evacuation notice or anything. We had just gotten back from Japan from being there the entire month of December, and then we come back to a fire in the beginning of January.
So you lost your home?
We lost our entire home. Yes.
Did you escape with anything?
You know, I was about to go to bed thinking, oh, this is another year of winds taking down our power. Hopefully we'll be back in the morning. And I just glanced at my phone around 9:30, 10 o'clock, seeing there was a fire, looked out our bedroom window, see the flames, see my neighbor in the driveway, and talked to him and said, we got to go. So within 10 minutes, we used our flashlights from our phone to grab cremations of our dogs, my sister-in-law. I grabbed my hard drive with all my digital files, but it was pretty much it. We were fully expecting to be able to come back. But
you are a well-recognized photographer. Let me ask you about the recovery process quickly. How's that been going for you?
Well, I always knew if anything ever happened in the house that I would grab the hard drives, because that has like 25 years of digital images. So I grabbed the hard drive. But everything else I lost. Any film-based stuff, the camera equipment.
What about insurance? How's that been for you?
That's a challenge.
That's a challenge. Our insurance agent told us we should have known to increase the insurance.
You're underinsured.
Yes, we're underinsured, and he said we should have known.
What does 2026 look like for you?
It's kind of a holding pattern right now. We don't have the money right now to rebuild, but our house is paid for. So we have the luxury of being able to wait to see whether or not we can make up the difference. So
because some people are having to pay the mortgage and rent where they're staying.
Yes.
All right.
Exactly.
Well, this is a whole lot of coming together here.
Yes.
Like I said, Cynthia and I are here hugging.
Yes,
We're just hugging. And I thank you for sharing your story, and I wish you so well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you. God bless you.
You too.
Thank you.
More news when we come back.
You got it. Welcome back to our special coverage. We are continuing to follow the road to recovery for many families affected by the devastating wildfires a year ago. The Palisades fire decimating homes along Malibu's coastline. Houses that once stood overlooking the ocean are no longer. Perhaps you've driven along PCH and seen it for yourself. Fox 11's Haley Wizzo, she's live for us in Malibu tonight. Haley, you spoke to people about how they are getting back on their feet.
Yeah, Marla, we're at City Hall right now where a commemoration just ended called Finding Strength in Community. You know, a larger percentage of Malibu than any other burn scar community was destroyed. 10%, even though it is a small town. 600 homes and then another 120 businesses, restaurants and shops that we love. You know, places like the Real Inn, Moonshadows, Rosenthal's Winery. And, you know, I talked to people here, and I think one thing that we can all agree on is there is nowhere quite like Malibu anywhere in the world. It's kind of that surf vibe, celebrity hideaway, and then you also have the little couple living on the hill who have been in that same house for 70 years. It really is such a unique place, which also makes the rebuild quite unique. 21 miles of scenic beauty until January 7th, 2025, when Malibu changed forever in the wildfire devastation.
It is also about honoring those who will not return and holding space for grief that does not fade with time.
Part of the Palisades fire in the city of Malibu, 4 people died, more than 700 homes and businesses destroyed, and that postcard-perfect coastline flattened.
We saw the smoke, and then the wind was blowing like 50, 60 miles an hour.
What has this been like for you guys to go through?
Well, it's been
miserable.
It's been hard. We have to adjust to all our losses.
You have to start from the beginning, like the toothbrush, the soap, you know, everything.
A year later, the winding PCH that separates rugged cliffs from the now empty lots along the Pacific Ocean has turned into a slow-go construction zone that for locals stirs up sadness, frustration, and heartache, where multi-million-dollar mansions once proudly stood at the edge of the world and then turned to rubble. Going home again feels farther away than the horizon.
What the world needs now is love.
In addition to being an incorporated city separate from LA, the Malibu rebuild faces unique challenges, like complex foundations on steep, unstable hillsides prone to mudslides, geotechnical engineers specialized in building on the ocean, and site-specific building codes and FEMA requirements.
The challenge that we're facing, different than any other jurisdictions, are the septic systems. The majority of the parcels we lost are all in septic systems. We also are very close to the beachfront properties, so they need seawalls to rebuild.
On top of the same insurance and financial challenges currently facing the burn scar communities of the Palisades, Altadena, and Pasadena. Reflecting on the past year, Malibu residents hold out hope that their charming beach town will once again feel like home. And for a lot of people, it is just way too expensive to rebuild here. A city spokesman telling me that it costs $1 million just to rebuild those pillars under the homes on the ocean. Reporting live in Malibu, I'm Haley Winslow, Fox 11 News.
Let's talk about the firefighters who fought the Eaton fire as their own communities burned. We talked with one firefighter from Pasadena who fought the Eaton fire. It destroyed his own home. Our Nick Garcia caught up with him today.
When the Eaton fire tore through Altadena a year ago, among the thousands of homes the flames leveled was Chen Hughes. Yu himself was fighting the fire, even though it was his day off from the Pasadena Fire Department.
What's going through my mind is that my brothers and sisters are going to need help that night. So shortly after we got an evacuation notice, my wife took my boys and headed just south. And I got in my truck and I headed south into work.
You, like thousands of other firefighters, worked through the night.
I just remember so much devastation, just so much fire. You know, so many homes that were on fire, that we were in the neighborhood just above PHS.
When he got off work the next day, he found out his house was gone.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was just filled with shock. I didn't really know what to feel.
Now the rubble has been cleared, and nothing can stop the progress of the rebuild.
Yeah, that's music to my ears, you know, just because something's happening and we're getting closer to coming back home.
He says construction should be completed this summer. On this day, he's reflecting on the last 365. And like a true hero, he's being humble about his courageous work.
A day at a time. I think I think what I did that night was the easy part. There are so many other people that are doing the harder part of supporting the community in Altadena and continued support that we need.
Good evening and welcome back. I'm Christine Devine, live here in Altadena.
And I'm Marla Tejas, live in Pacific Palisades. Thank you so much for being with us in our special coverage tonight. Not far from where we are at Palisades Park and Rec Center is a special tribute put on by Rick Caruso. Matthew Seedorf is standing by live with words from him. Matthew?
Yeah, this will be a 3-beam event to honor all of the fire victims from the LA fires last year. Joining us is Rick Caruso himself. Thank you for taking the time and joining us. I understand probably a lot of emotions tonight. I guess thinking about this last year or so, what's going through your mind tonight?
Well, there was a lot of emotions, obviously, but it was really nice being here earlier today. Went down to the Palisades Garden Cafe. There was hundreds of people out, a lot of old friends, and you know, everybody is sad, but I think there's a lot of hope and looking forward to a good year. So that's where I'm at. I'm looking for a good year.
Now, the Palisades fire, it impacted your family as well as the entire community almost exactly a year ago to the minute. You called into Fox 11 Live.
Right.
You expressed your frustration. You called what you were seeing as a third world country. Do you still feel that way when you think back to what you were seeing then and also what you see now?
Yeah, what I called in about was that I got a call saying my daughter's house was on fire and the firefighters, their hoses ran dry because the fire hydrants didn't have any water, which that's a third world country. This is the second largest city in the United States. That should never happen. And so the layers and layers of failures that resulted in the fire, and let's not forget the 11 people who died because of the incompetence and the management failures is, you can't even get your head around. And so, but I also am here tonight to light these beams because one of those beams represent hope. One represents looking back on what we lost. One represents gratitude for what we have, and one represents hope. And I am very hopeful and optimistic, not because of the politicians. I'm hopeful and optimistic because of the people of the Palisades and the people in Altadena. They are going to push these communities back.
Just as a businessman, you see there's 400 properties currently under construction, roughly in the Palisades. If you go to Altadena, it feels much slower than that. What is going on? What is causing this to be so slow? People want some urgency. They want to start construction. They want to get back.
They do. And what government needs to do, the county and the city, is take away all the friction. They're actually not doing just the bare minimum things. Put the building inspectors out here. Put the plan checkers out here. Have them local to the people. The people that lost their homes and their businesses, they did nothing wrong. It was at the city's fault, not their fault. So everything should be done to make it easy for them, to support them. The city should have the attitude, we are here for you.
Specifically, what do you think that would be right now? How do you think they could make
the plan checkers out here use the AI model that Steadfast got them? I would have a mandate that everything has to be approved within 30 days. Waive all the fees. They still haven't waived all the fees. Exempt the ULA fees. They still haven't done that. They should have a czar to rebuild. The mayor still hasn't done that after 270 days.
The mayor and the governor, they're talking about record speed of rebuilding.
That is total BS. Total BS. The record speed was the Army Corps of Engineers that was out here that did incredible work. There is no record speed. I'd love to see either of them prove that.
I know you've been toying.
That's all politics. That's genius politics.
I know you've been toying with the idea of running for governor or the mayor of LA.
Yeah.
You know, if you were in those positions, what would you be doing right now to help these communities? And do you think there would be a difference for people?
For sure there would be a difference, because anybody like myself who's managed organizations and complex organizations in the past know how to manage. And what you've had out here is you've had just management failures. And so it's not that I'm a genius on it, it's just that I've grown up and learned how to manage many complex things. I would be expediting all the permitting. I would be expediting all the approvals out here. There's no doubt about it. I would make sure, listen, what everybody has to remember also is, and people aren't talking about enough, the financial impact because of the loss of the Palisades, 7,000 homes off the tax roll, hundreds of businesses off the tax roll, is going to have a profound impact on the city budget. which means there's going to be a profound impact on city services for everybody in the city. So there should be a great urgency to getting rebuilt for the benefit of everybody in the city, not just the Palisades.
Just real quick, if you could grade the governor, grade the mayor, what would you give them?
I'm not into grading. I'm not going to give them a grade.
And are you ready to announce any plans tonight?
Soon enough. It will be very soon now.
All right, Rick Caruso, thank you so much. I'll go ahead and send it back to you.